The religion of the Proto-Indo-Europeans is not directly attested, but reconstruction has been attempted based on the existence of similarities among the deities, religious practices and mythologies of the Indo-European peoples. The hypothesized reconstructions below are based on linguistic evidence using the comparative method. Archaeological evidence is difficult to match to any specific culture in the period of early Indo-European culture in the Chalcolithic. Other approaches to Indo-European mythology are possible, most notably the trifunctional hypothesis of Georges Dumézil. Pantheon. Linguists are able to reconstruct the names of some deities in the Proto-Indo-European language from many types of sources. Some of the proposed deity names are more readily accepted among scholars than others. The term for a god was *D was reflected in Hittite, Zeus, Latin, Deus, Divus, Sanskrit, Deva, Avestan, Diva, Welsh, Duw, Irish, Dia, Old Norse, Tiva, Lithuanian, Dievas, Latvian, Divasis *Dies Ph2ter is the god of the daylit sky and the chief god of the Indo-European pantheon. The names of Ives in Greek Zeus with evocative forms Edu Pater, Latin Jupiter, Sanskrit Dies Pitter, and Illyrian Dei Patris. *PLTH2WIH2 was reconstructed as Plenty, a goddess of wide flat lands and the rivers that meander across them. Forms include Hittite Lelwani, a goddess of the underworld, the Pura, and Sanskrit Prithvi. Perkunos, known as the striker, is reconstructed from Sanskrit Parjanya, Prussian Perkins, Lithuanian Perkunas, Latvian Perkons, Slavic Perin, and Norse Fjorgen. Fjorgen was replaced by Thor among the Germanic-speaking peoples. The Celtic hammer god Suchedus is of the same character, but with an unrelated name. H2Eus is believed to have been the goddess of dawn, continued in Greek mythology as Eos, in Rome as Aurora, in Vedic as Ushas, in Lithuanian mythology as Osra, dawn, or Ostaris, the god of the northeast wind, Latvian Orseklis, the morning star, Orsera, and Osrina, goddesses of dawn or of the planet Venus. Galakis, a god of hearths, Slavic, Iaro, a god of summer. The former Arapushas appears in Albanian folklore, but is a name of the moon. See also the names for the sun which follow. An extension of the name may have been *H2 Eustro, but see also the form *TR, with intrusive T in northern dialects. Anatolian dialects, Estan, Istanus, Istara, Greek, Hestia, goddess of the hearth, Latin Vesta, goddess of the hearth, in Armenian as Astfik, a star goddess, possibly also in Germanic mythology as Ostra or Ostara, and Baltic, Ostia. Prior to, is reconstructed as beloved, friend, the love goddess. Other forms may include Old Norse Freyr and Frigg, Slavic Priya, and Hittite Puru. *Day2 New river goddess is reconstructed from Sanskrit Danus, Irish Danu, Welsh Don, and a mask. Formositic Don Betis. The name has been connected with the Dan rivers which run into the Black Sea and other river names in Celtic areas. Welnos is reconstructed as a god of cattle from Slavic Vels and Lithuanian Velnias, protector of flocks, Velns in Latvian, as well as Old Norse Ullr and Old English Waldor, and even the Elysian fields in Greek myth and ritual. There may be a god of cattle in the northern lands, but the argument is very thin. These names were also once thought to be connected to Sanskrit Varuna and Greek Ouranos, for example by Max Muller, but this is now rejected on linguistic grounds. divine twins. There are several sets, which may or may not be related. Analysis of different Indo-European tales indicate the Proto-Indo-Europeans believed there were two progenitors of mankind, Manu and Yemo, his twin brother. Cognates of this set of twins appear as the first mortals, or the first gods to die, sometimes becoming the ancestors of everyone and/or king of the dead. The sun and moon, as discussed below. Horse twins usually have a name that means horse *equa, but the names are not always cognate, because there is no lexical set. They are always male and usually have a horse form, or sometimes one is a horse and the other is a boy. They are brothers of the sun maiden adorned goddess, sons of the sky god, continued in Sanskrit Ashvins and Lithuanian Asvianirai, identical to Latvian Dievadeli. Other horse twins are Greek Diosco-Uroi, borrowed into Latin as Castor and Pollux, Irish the twins of Macha, Old English Hengist and Horso, and possibly Old Norse Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse born of Loki, Slavic Lenad-Palel, possibly Christianized in Albanian as SDS, Florian Lori. The horse twins may be based on the morning and evening star, and they often have stories about them in which they accompany the sun goddess. Because of the close orbit of the planet Venus to the sun, a water or sea god is reconstructed as *H2EPOM Nepit's grandson, nephew of waters from Avestan and Vedakapam Naphat, and as *Neptunos from Celtic Necton, Etruscan Nethans, and Latin Neptune. This god may be related to the Germanic water spirit, the Nyx. Similarly, most major Lithuanian rivers begin in E. Poseidon fulfills the same role in Greek mythology, but although the etymology of his name is highly arguable, it is certainly not cognate to Apam Naphat. The sun and moon are often seen as the twin children of various deities, but in fact the sun and moon were deified several times and are often found in competing forms within the same language. The usual scheme is that one of these celestial deities is male and the other female, though the exact gender of the sun or moon tends to vary among subsequent Indo-European mythologies. Here are two of the most common PIE forms. *A2 with a genitive form *sh2ns, sun appears as Sanskrit Surya, Avestan Hvara, Greek Helios, Latin Sol, Germanic *Soi lo, Slavic Solanza, Lithuanian Sol, Latvian Sol, Albanian Dial. The original Indo-European solar deity appears to have been female, a characteristic not only supported by the higher number of sun goddesses in subsequent derivations, but also by vestiges in mythologies with male solar deities. Mare 1 not moon gives Avestan Mart, Greek Selene, although they also use a form many, Latin lunar, later Diana, on Mani, Old English Mona, Slavic Myasiats, Lithuanian Mino, or Manuo, Latvian Menas, Roman Minerva. In Albanian, Hain is the name of Monday, but this is not related. The original Indo-European lunar deity appears to have been masculine, with feminine lunar deities like Selene, Minerva and Luna being a development exclusive to the Eastern Mediterranean. Even in these traditions, remnants of male lunar deities, like Menelaus, remain. *PEH2 is reconstructed as a pastoral god, based on the Greek god Pan, the Roman god Faunus and the Fauns, and Vedic Pashupati and Pushan. See also Pax. There may have been a set of nature spirits gods akin to the Greek satyrs, the Celtic gods Cernunnos and the Darci, Slavic veals and the Lezi, the Germanic woodwoos, elves and dwarves. There may also have been a female cognate akin to the Greco-Roman nymphs, Slavic Vilis, the Huldra of Germanic folklore, and the Hindu Apsaras. It is also likely that they had three fate goddesses. See the Norns in Norse mythology, Moirai in Greek mythology, Sargenes of Slavic folklore, Ursitor in folklore of Romania, and Dives Valditojos in Lithuanian mythology. Celtic religion is also rife with triple goddesses, such as the Gaulish matrones and the Morrigan of Ireland, and sometimes triplicate gods as well, but they are not always associated with fate. See also triple deities. A fuller treatment of the subject of the Indo-European pantheon would not merely list the cognate names but describe additional correspondences in the family relationships, festival dates, associated myths and special powers. Pandemonium and demonium is Jan Pervel's word for the mutual demonization that occurred when the Younger Avesta demonized the Devas, and the post-Rig Vedic texts demonized the Asuras. Neither demonization occurs in the oldest texts. In the Rig Veda, there is not yet any hard and fast distinction between Asuras and Devas, and even in the later Vedas, the two groups cooperate at certain times. In the old Avestan texts, the Devas are to be rejected for being misguided by the eye, but they are still gods, and not demons. However, in the 19th century this distinction between the older and younger texts had not yet been made, and in 1884 Martin Haug postulated his thesis that the transition of both the words into the designations of the demons is based on a prehistoric schism in religion. The observation was reiterated by Jacob Grimm, who, like Haug, considered it to be the theological basis of Zoroastrianism's dualism. Before this, Westergaard had attributed the Younger Avesta's demonization of the Devas to a moral reaction against Vedic polytheism, but that was very quickly rejected, and by 1895 James Darmestater noted that it has no longer any supporter. Nonetheless, some modern authors like Mallory and Adams still refer to Zoroastrianism as a religious reformation of Vedic religion. Most scholars, however, stress that there were two independent developments in ancient Iran and post-Rig Vedic India, but nonetheless to be considered against the common background of prehistoric Indo-Iranian religion where both groups coexisted with the Asuras, perhaps even as a subset of the Devas, the national gods. Mythology. Dragon, a serpent. One common myth among almost all Indo-European mythologies is a battle ending with the hero or god slaying a serpent, a dragon of some sort. The Vahan versus Visap in Armenian mythology, Zeus versus Typhon, Kronos versus Ophon, Apollo versus Python, Heracles versus the Hydra and Ladon, Perseus versus Ceto, and Bellerophon versus the Chimera in Greek mythology, Thor versus Jormungandr, Sigurd versus Fenrir, and Beowulf versus the dragon in Germanic mythology. Indra versus Vrtra in the Rig Veda, Krishna versus Kaliya in the Bhagavata Purana, Theradon, and later Garshasp versus Zaruk in Zoroastrianism and Persian mythology, Perun versus Veals, Dobranya Nikitij versus Sedme in Slavic mythology, Fat Frumos versus Zmeu in folklore of Romania, Tar Hunt versus Solulyanka of Hittite mythology, Dian Checht versus Michi of Celtic mythology. There are also analogous stories in other neighboring mythologies. Anu Marduk versus Tiamat in Mesopotamian mythology, Ra versus Apep in Egyptian mythology, Baal or El versus Lot and Ayam Nafa in Levantine, mythology, Yahweh Gabriel versus Leviathan or Habitanan in Jewish mythology, Michael the Archangel and Christ versus Satan, Virgin Mary crushing a serpent in Roman Catholic iconography, St. George and the dragon in Christian mythology. The myth symbolized a clash between forces of order and chaos, and the god or hero would always win. Serpentine aspects can be found in many Greek aquatic deities, most notably Poseidon, Oceanus, Triton, Typhon, Ophon, and also the Slavic Veles, possibly called *Kamis, awesome name cognate with *Varuna, Varunos of the root *well, vel, or serpent, or the root *tube. Sun related to the dragon-slaying myth is the sun in the rock myth, of a heroic warrior deity splitting a rock where the sun at dawn was imprisoned. Such a myth is preserved in the Rigvedic story of Vala, where ashes and the cows stolen by the Panis were imprisoned, connected with other myths of abductions into the netherworld such as the mysteries of Elysis connected with Persephone, Dionysus and Triptolemus, the sun god, Helios of Greek mythology, Surya of Hinduism, and Sol of Germanic mythology are represented as riding in a chariot with horses. In Norse mythology, the sun goddess and moon god are swallowed by demon wolves Skull and Hatiroth Vitnissen. In Hinduism, the sun god and moon god are swallowed by the demon serpents Rahu and Ketu, resulting in eclipses. Brothers. The analysis of different Indo-European tales indicates that the Proto-Indo-Europeans believed there were two progenitors of mankind, Manu and Yemo, his twin brother. A reconstructed creation myth involving the two is given by David W. Anthony, attributed in part to Bruce Lincoln. Manu and Yemo traverse the cosmos, accompanied by the primordial cow, and finally decide to create the world. To do so, Manu sacrifices either Yemo or the cow, and with help from the Sky Father, the storm god and the divine twins, forges the earth from the remains. Manu thus becomes the first priest and establishes the practice of sacrifice. The sky gods then present cattle to the third man, Trito, who loses it to the three-headed serpent Ngwhi, but eventually overcomes this monster either alone or aided by the Sky Father. Trito is now the first warrior and ensures that the cycle of mutual giving between gods and humans may continue. Reflexes of Manu include Indic Manu, Germanic Manus, of Yemo, Indic Yama, Avestan Yema, Norse Ymi, possibly Roman Remus. There are almost no mythological tales from Rome, but the early history of Rome is recognized as being an historicized version of various old myths. Romulus and Remus were twin brothers. They both have stories in which they are killed. Remus is killed by his brother Romulus at the foundation of Rome. Romulus is dismembered by the senators, the Wursum, who secretly hinted that he had been torn limb from limb by the senators. There is no world-making here, but Romulus is the eponymous ancestor of the Romans, and the founder of Rome. Gemini is the actual Latin word for twins, though it usually applies to Castor and Pollux. See horse twins in the pantheon section. They were worshipped all over the Roman world with votive altars with inscriptions, which remained after the Romans were gone. This may be the source of some names which appear in early Christian myths. The Germanic languages have information about both Ymir and Manus, but they never appear in the same myth. Rather, they appear only in myths widely separated in both time and circumstances. A Roman text tells that Manus, the son of Tuisto, was the ancestor of the Germanic people, according to Tacitus, writing in Latin. In Germania too, we never see this being again, but the name Alamen is interpreted as all men, the name for themselves. Bulls. Celtic texts were written down between the 11th and 14th centuries CE. In one myth, a bull is killed and dismembered by another bull and the parts of his body are distributed around Ireland, which explains the names of many features of the landscape, though not the cause of their existence. It was not long before the men of Erin, as they were there in the company of Ailill and Madb early on the morrow, saw coming over Cruachan from the west the brown bull of Qualm with the white horned Devi in torn fragments hanging about his ears and horns. An example of one of the distributions is this one. Then he raised his head, and the shoulder blades of the white horn fell from him in that place. Hence, Sruther-Finley is the name given to it. In Zoroastrianism and Persian mythology, according to the Zoroastrian story of creation, Ahura Mazda existed in light and goodness above, while Angra Mainyu existed in darkness and ignorance below. They have existed independently of each other for all time, and manifest contrary substances. Ahura Mazda first created 7 abstract heavenly beings called Ameshaspentas, who support him and represent beneficent aspects, along with numerous Yazads, lesser beings worthy of worship. He then created the universe itself in order to ensnare evil. Ahura Mazda created the floating, egg-shaped universe in 2 parts, first the spiritual and 3,000 years later, the physical. Ahura Mazda then created Gayamad, the archetypical perfect man, and the first bull, while Ahura Mazda created the universe and humankind, Angra Mainyu, whose instinct is to destroy miscreated demons, evil Yazads, and noxious creatures such as snakes, ants, and flies. Angra Mainyu created an opposite evil being for each good being except for humans, which he found he could not match. Angra Mainyu invaded the universe through the base of the sky, inflicting Gayamad and the bull with suffering and death. However, the evil forces were trapped in the universe and could not retreat. The dying primordial man and bull emitted seeds. For the bull's seed grew all beneficial plants and animals of the world, and from the man's seed grew plant whose leaves became the first human couple. Humans thus struggle in a twofold universe trapped with evil. The evils of this physical world are not products of an inherent weakness, but of the fault of Angra Mainyu's assault on creation. This assault turned the perfectly flat, peaceful, and everyday lit world into a mountainous, violent place that is half night. In Lithuanian, a folktale tells of a bull and 3 cows which are beheaded by Osrine, and then the land appears. The maiden upon returning released her bull. The bull knelt down and spoke in a man's voice, "Chop off my head." The maiden did not want to chop it off, but she had to. She chopped the head off. A fourth of the seas disappeared, became land. Her brother emerged from the bull. She cut off the heads of all 3 cows, who were her sisters. All the seas disappeared, turned to land. The earth sprang to life. Other myths may have included creation myths, birth of the horse twins from the grain horse mother, Danu killed and cut open to produce a river. Cyclic myths, sprinkles winter, usually with his sprinkler or his striker, cloud, cows stolen from the sun god by the wind god and then released. Death and rebirth of the life-death rebirth deity causes the seasons. Fraser calls him the dying corn god. Uncle Water melts the ice and releases the water, causing flooding. Quest of the golden apples of immortality, usually by wind god. Culture myths, stories in which some godlike being teaches the arts of civilization to humans, are found in all cultures. The culture myths of the Indo-Europeans tell how the culture or gods taught humans such arts as how to make fire, the proper way to kill and butcher an animal, religious rituals and law codes, smithing, weaving, plowing, and healing. Culture-giving figures sometimes have an intermediate position between gods and humans. They are certainly supernatural. but they often die or are tortured by other gods for their beneficence to humans. Nevertheless, they are often revived and worshipped like regular gods are revered as heroes. Mallory and Adams call them craft gods and argue that they are not linguistically reconstructible. However, Cox compares Greek Prometheus with Hindu Pramanthu. Smith gods, a subset of the cultural gods, have slightly reconstructible according to Mallory and Adams. Flood myth is a widespread myth, in Indo-European as in other cultures. In Hindu mythology, there is a story of a great flood, wherein the Matsya avatar of Vishnu warns the first man, Manu. In Greek mythology, Deucalion is the survivor of the flood, and his sons Aeolus, Ion and Doris are the founders of the three main lines of modern Greeks: ritual and sacredness. Emile Benveniste states that there is no common term to designate religion itself, or cult, or the priests, not even one of the personal gods. There are, however, terms denoting ritual practice reconstructed in Indo-Iranian religion which have root cognates in other branches, hinting at common PIE concepts. Thus, the stem *HRTA, usually translated as order. Benveniste states, "We have here one of the cardinal notions of the legal world of the Indo-Europeans, to say nothing of the religious and moral ideas." He also adds that an abstract suffix tu formed the Vedic stem rtu, avastan ratu, which designated order, particularly in the seasons and periods of time, and which appears in Latin ritus, rite, and Sanskrit ritu. The following list of reconstructed PIE religious terms is based on EIEC in Lyle Campbell *Kish1 holy, *sacro sacred, *Kaiwan holy, *Noibo holy, *Preki pray, *Meld pray, *Gwhedh pray, *H1 weg speak solemnly, *Ger call invoke, *Kowh1 their priests say poet, *Hxiag worship, *Quake consecrate, *September handle reverently, *spend libate, *gu libate, and *gu Minnesota libation, *dapnom sacrificial meal from *dap, Tolko A2 meal, Nemos sacred grow, Werbh sacred enclosure. Benveniste also posits the existence of a dual conception of sacredness, divided into a positive side, the intrinsic, otherworldly power of deities, and a negative side, sacredness of objects in the world that make them taboo for humans. This opposition is found in word pairs such as the Latin sacrus, sanctus, and Greek gamma iota omicron sigma epsilon rho omicron sigma. Development. The various Indo-European daughter cultures continued elements of PIE religion, syncretizing it with innovations and foreign elements, notably ancient Near Eastern and Dravidian elements, the reforms of Zoroaster and Buddha, and the spread of Christianity and Islam. Anatolian, see Hittite mythology. Indo-Iranian, Indo-Aryan, see Vedic religion and mythology, Indian religions, and Kalasha. Iranian, see Zoroastrianism, Persian mythology and Yazdanism. Greek, see Greek polytheism and mythology. Hellenistic religion, decline of Hellenistic polytheism, Greek Orthodox Church. Italic, see Roman polytheism and mythology, Roman Catholic Church. Celtic, see Celtic polytheism and mythology, Celtic Christianity. Germanic, see Germanic mythology. Baltic, see Latvian mythology, Lithuanian mythology. Slavic, see Slavic mythology, Christianization of the Slavicis. Tocharian, little evidence, see Silk Road transmission of Buddhism. Armenian, limited evidence, see Armenian mythology, Armenian Orthodox Church. Prehistoric Balkans, see Paleo-Balkanic mythology.